You'd think losing a brother would be something you could forget. But I still hear his voice sometimes, the way he called my name that night. I grew up in a small village by the river. We lived under the rule of Prince Okelo, a man so ruthless, most people kept their heads down and their doors bolted after dark. But none of us thought he could take people, just like that. Until he did. The night started like any other, just a breeze whispering through the palm trees. My brother Abasi and I were walking home after a long day of helping my uncle mend his fishing nets. We were both tired, joking softly about whose hands had more blisters, when we saw him, the prince, riding down the narrow path, shadowed by 4 guards. My brother, always respectful, told me to bow my head. I did, but not Abasi. He glanced up, just once. And that was enough. Prince Okelo halted his horse, tilting his head toward my brother. "You, boy. Look me in the eye when I pass." Abasi tried to explain, but the prince wasn't interested. He stepped down, his footsteps crushing the sand like it was glass. And then, he smiled. A slow, thin-lipped grin that made my skin crawl. "Take him," he said to his guards. I froze, gripping my brother's arm. Abasi was already pleading, "Please, my prince, it was a mistake. I meant no disrespect." But they didn't care. They seized him, their hands as tight as iron. And I just stood there, numb with fear. Abasi turned to me as they dragged him away, his eyes wide and terrified, calling my name until his voice faded into the night. I wanted to tell my parents, but who would dare speak out against Prince Okelo? The prince's guards watched our family for days after, almost daring us to try. I don't know what happened to my brother in that palace, only the rumors people whispered. That Prince Okelo had a way of feeding on fear, that he took joy in watching someone's hope slowly fade. I don't know if Abasi ever looked that prince in the eye again, but I remember his voice echoing in my ears every night. Years later, I found an old, cracked bracelet under a tree outside the village, a bracelet my brother always wore. As I turned the bracelet over in my hands, a chill ran down my spine. How did it end up here, so many years later? Had Abasi been here? Was he still out there? I looked toward the darkened jungle, the wind whispering through the trees as if carrying a message I couldn't quite understand. And then, somewhere deep in the distance, I heard it, soft, almost too faint to be real. A voice. My brother's voice asterisk. What really happened to Abasi? Is he still alive, or is something else waiting in the shadows? Don't miss the next chilling chapter of this untold African tale. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss what happens next. The truth is closer than you think.